I've always been fascinated by musicals. As a young person, I remember a TV show called Cop Rock. I just loved that people could spontaneously break into song. Um, Obviously, over the years, picking up soundtracks like The Phantom of the Opera and so many others, all the way up to Rent. At some point, I lost my interest in it, but I'm always fascinated when one gets really popular and sort of captures people's imagination, like Hamilton has recently. But one time, I was talking to somebody who really knew a lot about musicals and had actually been a part of their production and stuff, and I just happened to mention that my favorite musical is Jesus Christ Superstar, the original. And not because I'm a minister or like a Christian. I there's something about that era, the gritty rock sort of thing that really just resonated with me. And I have probably 10 different editions of the soundtrack from different eras and different productions. I love Jesus Christ Superstar. I just happened to mention to this person that the one thing that I didn't like, uh, that I usually skipped when I played the soundtrack, was the overture at the beginning. That part in the musical where they play like a little clip of each section or type of music, each song that you're going to hear, and introduce the melody to you and sort of set the tone and the theme. And if you've ever heard the Jesus Christ Superstar soundtrack, you'll know what I'm talking about, that opening overture. And it's like a preamble, little snippets of the various melodies you're going to hear. And this person mentioned to me that that is the most important thing for music lovers or people who know what they're doing when it comes to musicals. That's actually the most important part, and that the rest of the play or whatever, for the songs with all the explanations and everything else, is for those who don't get it, who don't lock in, right? It's for the common people or something. I just thought it was a really funny explanation. And so I went back and I listened to my various soundtracks that I had and made sure to pay attention to that opening overture. And it was an interesting experiment. Well, in the book we're reading, The First Christmas by Crossan and Borg, they actually talk about how in both Matthew and in Luke, there is essentially an overture that, especially in the book of Luke, that music plays an important role and that song is part of the storytelling. In fact, if you were to use this musical analogy, there are 3 songs in Luke's gospel that various people sing, and that those 3 together are actually a coming attractions or a preview of what you're going to see or hear in the rest of the gospel. And it made me think of my friend who said that for those in the know, or those who have an ear, if you will, that those 3 tell the whole story in the overture, in the preamble, that they actually tell the story, and that the rest, all of the details and the action and the dialogue, is for those who don't tune in originally. It made me think that, in those 3 songs, Zechariah and Elizabeth and Mary, Anna, that like the most famous one is the Magnificat, right? And so that became in Handel's Messiah. That's how most people know that. But as somebody who has read the Gospel of Luke and the Gospel of Matthew, but specifically Luke, I actually thought that my friend's little dismissive explanation of how musicals work actually really fit, because technically, if you read those first chapters of Luke and you knew the Hebrew Testament well, the Exodus story specifically, and even Abraham and Sarah, you would know what's going on with some of the characters right away, and you would recognize those songs. And technically, it does introduce the themes for the rest of the Gospel of Luke. if you know what you're looking for or how to hear what's being sung, it actually is more than a coming attractions and more than just a preview of what's to come. The themes that will emerge in the entire book actually are present in those three sonnets or hymns or songs. And so, anyway, I'm really just enjoying that, and it made me smile because I'll never forget when my friend explained that thing about musicals to me, that it was just like completely outside my understanding or experience. But I find myself thinking about it when I'm reading Luke, those early chapters, and people break out into song, and you think, oh, they're introducing the themes that will emerge in the rest of the story. Anyway, let me know your thoughts, and I'll see you tomorrow.